Hello math fans, it's Dennis here once again. Now, in my earlier videos, I did this thing here, 1 to the power x equals 2, which was a really nice experience and people liked it. So I decided to do more crazy stuff like cosine x equals 2022. So I decided to do this because we know that cosine x normally is between -1 and of course +1, but this is in the real world. In the complex world, things begin to get really interesting, and we can have something like this. Of course, this is 2022, so why not try out this one here? Okay, so cosine of x equals 2022. The way we'll begin this is by writing cosine x in some other fashion, which is in form of a complex number. So, now of course, a complex number can be written in polar form as cosine of x plus I sine of x, and of course this right here is the same as e to the power ix. Okay, and of course if I make this angle, which is also called the argument of the complex number, if I make it minus, so if I have e to the power minus ix, then I'll just have to put minus here and a minus here, and if I put a minus here, I can as well pull that out, so that will be minus I sine x, and of course cos of a minus angle is the same as the cosine of a positive angle, so this will just say as cosine of x. And just looking at this, you can see that if I add up the two expressions, this will cancel out, and I'll just have twice of cosine x equals, of course, this plus this, so e to the power ix plus e to the power minus ix, and I can just divide both sides by 2. So this right here is the alternative formula for cosine of x, and instead of having cosine x here, I'm going to have this. So let me clear the board and I write this cosine x in this form. Okay, so we are back. Instead of cosine x, I'll just write that as e to the power ix plus e to the power minus ix. All this divided by 2 equals 2022. I'll just multiply 2 on both sides, so I'll have e to the power ix plus e to the power minus ix equals, that's going to be 4044. Okay, nice. So this is the same as, okay, I'll just write this as e to the power ix plus 1 divided by e to the power ix. This is the same as 1 over e to the power ix. And then, of course, this is 4044. Now I'm going to multiply e to the power ix on the whole equation, and then I'll write this. Now, let me just use another color. So this is going to be e to the power ix, that's squared because this is the same as this, so I'll have that squared. I'll just bring this here, so that's going to be minus 4044 e to the power ix, because it's a plus, so when it comes here it's going to be a minus, and then I'll just have plus 1 here, and everything equals to 0 because I have nothing on this side here. And this is now interesting because we have a quadratic equation which is very easy to solve. As a matter of fact, I'll just let e to the power ix be equal to y, and so if I just substitute here with y, that's going to be y squared minus 4044 y plus 1 equals to 0. Okay, so let me just clear this, and then we'll proceed and solve this equation and see what answer we get. Alright, here we are. So there are several ways of solving this, but let's just do it by completing squares. So we'll just have y, and that's going to be minus half of this number here, which is, okay, so half of that is 22, and I'll have that squared plus this one here. But of course, when I expand this out, there is going to be an extra 2022 squared. squared, oops, I should subtract that off because it's going to be an extra term coming from this. And of course, all this equals to 0. So I'll just have y minus 2022 squared equals, so if I just take this, the other side, I'll have 2022 squared minus 1. So what's 2022 squared? I'm starting to regret why I chose such a big number. Okay, I will not square that. I'll just put square roots on both sides. So I have y minus 2022 equals, the square root of this should be very, very close to 2022 because, 2022 squared minus 1, that's a very small difference. So I'm not saying it's exactly 2022, but I think it's like 2021.99 something. So that should fairly work for us, just for this example. So we now have y equals, of course I take this over to the other side, so that's going to be, what's that? 44 again. But remember, our y is actually e to the power ix, so I'll just put this for y. Let me just do that here. So we have e to the power ix equals 44. And now we're very close. I can just put the natural log on both sides. So we'll have x, or ix if you like, equals the natural log of this. Okay, and to make things really interesting, this is just the principal logarithm of this, but we actually have more logarithms if we, rotate to get more arguments. So I can add here 2 pi n, and if you don't know where this is coming from, you should watch this video about how to find the logarithm of a complex number. I really explain this in detail. So of course here n is an integer. There should be an I, sort of, yeah, hopefully. And I should also say theta plus this, but of course the principal argument for this is going to be 0 because this is exactly on the, so 44 is exactly on the real line. So this is the real axis, this is the imaginary axis. So as you can see, the angle is going to be 0. So yeah, I can as well start from that. N is an integer, 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on. Positive integer. 0 is inclusive, of course. And so I can now find x finally. If I just divide by x, and that's going to be minus I times the natural log of 4044 plus 2 pi n. Okay, so let me just clear here and write my final solution very well so that you can see it. Okay, so that's the solution to this equation. I hope you enjoy this video. If you do, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and do that. I'll see you in more interesting math stuff. See you then. Bye.